Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV. Well, this is the West Ham versus Man City fan channel preview. So what we did was get in touch with Gonzo from Hammers Chat, the West Ham fan channel, and we asked each other some questions. So anyway, this is my first question to Gonzo.
Hello, I'm Gonzo and I'm from West Ham United fan channel Hammers Chat. I'm going to give you my views. I've been asked a few questions to give you a bit of an opposition view ahead of the upcoming game where we face your fantastic side at the London Stadium at 3 o'clock on Saturday. Now, the first question was about the similarities between West Ham and Manchester City fans, and I do think there's a maybe a kindred spirit there in many respects, which I think was born out of the fact that both our clubs have been yo-yo clubs over the years. But not just that. I think, like yourselves, when West Ham have been relegated, we actually kept our core fan base, a core local fan base, and we got pretty good attendances even down in the Championship, as I know you used to at Main Road when you used to go down, you used to get relegated. You get lots of fans. Same with West Ham. We'd get relegated. We'd still get sort of 30,000 fans at Upton Park. So I think there's a lot of that about it. I also think in many respects, we because of that, we know that Manchester City have done the hard yards in many respects, much like us. And it's very, very hard when you are within your own city, overshadowed by somebody else, as of course Manchester City were by the club, who shall not be named. Who are obviously universally quite unpopular with most sets of fans. I think that sort of resonated with West Ham fans. Obviously, we have the same situation, albeit we're not the second club in our city. There are, there are a few rivals, obviously, in London, but I think we know what it's like to be the little brother, as it were, being patronised by the bigger clubs on the scene. So I think that, again, we would understand how you would want to do well against your city rivals, because that's something we've always sort of strived to do. Obviously, your club's changed. Manchester City has changed beyond all recognition. Sheikh Mansour's taken over, and you've got a lot of money in there now. And I think it's always been difficult for West Ham fans to appreciate your city rivals when they've had money. And then you had Chelsea, of course, were taken over by Abramovich. They're a city rival. We didn't want them. I guess there was a certain amount of jealousy that it wasn't us in that respect. So I think if anybody was going to get money, it was probably the most palatable of all was probably going to be yourselves, Manchester City fans, who we get on pretty well with. And of course now we've got a couple of your former players as well. Nasri might be joining. Possibly he's training with us, and of course we've got Zabaleta there, who I know is a huge favourite amongst Manchester City fans, and rightly so.
Okay, so Gonzo asked about Manuel Pellegrini and what were my thoughts. Well, I think he did a wonderful job. He's not the most charismatic of people, but at the end of the day, he did a superb job for Man City. And it's hard when you compare the likes of Roberto Mancini, who was very popular, and now we've obviously got Pep Guardiola, who is just a legend in Man City's fans' eyes. But no, the charming man did a wonderful job at Man City, and I really do hope that he does a wonderful job at West Ham, and give him time, because what he'll do is he'll put together a good squad, and they'll get in that sort of top 8, which I think at the moment would be a good result for West Ham certainly in the future. So my second question to Gonzo was,
and of course Pellegrini, who I'll go on to next. He's done okay. He's not done too bad. We've been crying out for a bit of decent football for a long time. Allardyce was not a good manager. Let's be fair about that. He was functional. He did his best, but I think you sort of, as you would know yourselves from sort of Ali Benarbia and Kinkladze and people like that at West Ham, we like a tricky genius, and we like the ball played on the deck, and we like somebody who can do something a little bit clever on the ball. And whilst Allardyce was functional enough and whilst Moyes did a job, we wanted a little bit more. And there were times in recent years when we've had sort of 17, 18% possession in games, and that's just no good. So Pellegrini's come in. He's done okay. But I think he's been backed by the board. He's spent 100 million, which is a lot of money for us. So he's starting to stamp his authority on the team. He's bringing young players through. And we're now finding that we actually do attack teams. We don't just sit back and try not to be beaten. And that's great. We've obviously beaten... we beat Man U quite famously this season as well. We beat Burnley, which was good. We've not had some poorer results against Huddersfield and Brighton in particular. We started off, got thumped 4-0 by Liverpool. But we got a couple of half-decent centre-backs that Pellegrini's brought in Diop and Balbuena. And they've helped shore things up at the back, which have allowed the rest of the team to go on attack. We've got some problems in midfield. That's not of his own making, really. I think he's going to go out and buy another midfielder, probably in January. But he's doing okay.
And Gonzo asked about Pablo Zabaleta and how do we, as Man City fans, feel about him. Well, the guy's just he's just a mank. He's an adopted mank. He's just an amazing person, wonderful player, a brilliant servant, and I'm just hoping that after this season at some point he'll come back to Manchester City in a coaching role or something like that. Yeah, I mean, he's just an absolute legend in most Blues' eyes. A wonderful, wonderful player. And like I said, an even better sort of human being. So my third question to Gonzo was...
The other question I was asked is, what's a successful season for West Ham? Well, I think, for me personally... just mid-table and playing decent football that's entertaining would be nice. Not going out trying not to get thrashed would be a really good thing. And maybe going for having a run in the FA Cup for too long at West Ham. We've had managers that would just sacrifice everything just for staying in the Premier League. So it would be nice to, you know what, if we could finish 12th, not float a relegation, and have a run in a cup, that would be a successful season, in my opinion, for West Ham. And then hopefully Pellegrini gets to build on that. But next season, he does look like he's brought his backroom team in. He's changed things at the training ground. He's got a 3-year contract. Hopefully he gets it. I'm hopeful that after 3 years that we'll be much improved. We'll have a team that you know, hopefully will be sort of constantly, you know, in and around the top 8 would be lovely, and probably about as good as it's going to get without a massive cash injection. Just that's the way the Premier League is at the moment.
So Gonzo asked about Samir Nasri while he's training with West Ham. Nasri, Bolt from the Blue, will hate me for saying anything slightly negative about him, but wonderful talent that I think through, I don't know whether it was ego or something, he could have been anything. Could have been absolutely anything. He had all the talent in the world. But it was interesting when I interviewed Sharon Latham, and she said, you know, he's not the person that people think he is. He's actually really quite quiet, and it's normally the people that are seen as outgoing and flamboyant are actually the ones that are quite quiet. And she said he was quite quiet. But I think a wasted talent is the only way I could sum up Samir Nasri. A wonderfully gifted footballer who could have gone on to be one of the best players in the world, in my opinion. But he did a wonderful job for Man City, so I can't say too much about that. So, question number 4.
How are we going to stop you guys? How are we going to stop Manchester City? I don't think we can. I don't think we can. I think you're just going to win. I think that the trick is for us not to lose sort of 6-0 or 5-0 or something like that against you. But I think the one thing we have going for us under Pellegrini is we will attack you. We will attack you. Now, that might leave us vulnerable at the back, but it also might mean we'll have a little bit more possession than you, but than we would traditionally have had against you. And I think if we are trying to attack and the ball is up your end of the pitch for a little bit at a time, then at least it stops you scoring. So I don't think we've got a realistic chance of winning. You're just in another you're just in another league. You're just that's yourselves and Liverpool and Chelsea. I just think are so far ahead of everybody else. And then you've got the next little level below, who are pretty good as well. But some of the players you've got are absolutely brilliant. I just can't see us keeping Aguero, Silva, De Bruyne, people like that. Quiet all game. Carl Walker bombing forward, and Sane, Raheem Sterling's in excellent form. We do not have players that can compete with those sort of players at all. But we've got a couple of half decent players. We've got some young players coming through. Anderson Silva, if he turns up, might cause you some problems. But are we going to score the 3-4 goals that would be needed to beat you? No, certainly not.
So, question number 4 for me was, will Man City win the Champions League? I don't know. I really don't know. I think we'll go far, go into the Lyon match on Tuesday. Don't forget, I'm flying out Monday. I'm coming back Wednesday. I have got a spare ticket. I've just found out my lad's starting a new job on Tuesday, so can't make it. Thank God I didn't book the flights, but there is a spare ticket, so contact us on Twitter if anyone wants to meet up at the ground. Or I'll be in Lyon from Monday sort of morning until Wednesday afternoon. So any day, Monday or Tuesday morning, if you want to meet up, I'll meet up with all the guys that are going out there around the centre of Lyon. But yeah, as far as Champions League, I think if we get to the semi and the final again, I think we'll do okay. But I really do think that Pep this season will really have a go at it, and I can't see any reason why we can't reach the semis or certainly the final this season. We've got a wonderful squad rotating, and we've got the fact of Kevin De Bruyne is back. Yeah, who knows? But it's the Premier League all day long for me. And my final question, which is the score prediction.
So my prediction for the game, I think it's probably going to be about 3-0 to you. Do I think you just got to turn up to win? No, but I do think you'll have a bit much for us. Maybe in 2 or 3 years it might be slightly different.
So Gonzo asks, what's the score prediction for Saturday? Don't know. Don't think it'll be a walkover. I don't think it'll be like the Southampton game or some of the others this season. I think West Ham will have a right go. So I'm going to go for Man City 3, West Ham 2. Anyway, guys, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. Don't forget, subscribe, click notification, and we'll see you soon.